Traditional cold calling is dead. AI phone agents are here right now and they're able to call, engage with and follow up on leads 24/7. Are you staying ahead of the competition, or maybe is your competition actually using these and getting ahead of you? Well, in this step-by-step tutorial, we're going to go through and build it. So if you want to see it in action, here's a quick demo. It's going to go through, automatically trigger a phone call. As we can see here, it's coming through.
Calling from BrightPath Solutions. I'm following up regarding your interest in cybersecurity solutions. Would now be a good time to quickly discuss and answer any questions you might have.
There we go, a fully personalized phone call coming straight through, being able to say the person's name, what they're interested in, if they're able to speak now, and we can go straight into how we're going to build that. Today we're going to be using make.com to trigger a lot of this, but we're also going to be using VAPI as the back end for the phone calls that come through. All of this is incredibly cheap, as we'll be able to pay per minute, which is around 10 cents a minute. We're also going to be able to go through and capture all of the details, store it in our CRM. So if we need to go and do any follow-up actions, we can do it and we can easily qualify the leads that are coming through versus you having to go through and do it manually. So let's jump into the first part here, which is around triggering that phone call. All of the resources are in the link below as well. So all you need to do is come through here, import the blueprint, and it'll be ready to go straight away. And let's dive straight into how we would build this. So if we come through into a new scenario, what we're going to be doing is Airtable. Then we're going to be doing for watch records. What we're going to do is make sure that we're all connected up with our account. In here, I've just got an example sales sort of CRM dashboard that we've got. Again, resource link below if you want to get access to this. It's very simple. All you need is customer name, first name, last name, company they're part of. Maybe you've got some info in there around their LinkedIn profile. You've got their title, maybe the department they're a part of, the email, their phone number. You've got some of the opportunities maybe they're interested in. Maybe you've manually added it. We can get AI to do that as well. We've got any last interactions that we have with them. We can trigger a phone call from here as well, using a HTTP request and some webhooks. And then we're going to be going through and capturing all the detail at the end here, which is key, and that's exactly what we want to see. So let's dive straight in. So we make sure that we're all connected to that base. There we go, we're all connected. And if you ever want to do that, all you need to do is come through, do Airtable OAuth. It'll take you through. You'll just need to click save. You'll go through and connect the base, and then you'll be all ready to go. We're going to get rid of that because we're already set up. So we're going to be using the base. So again, if we come into here, we've got the base of our sales CRM, and then we're going to be doing contacts today. So we want to do base, sales CRM. We want to come through and then do table, and we're going to do contacts. Now, what we're looking for is the created field in this case. So the trigger field, we're looking for created time, and the label field we can just do as customer name. And this 10 limit is basically saying that we're enabling 10 to come through within the given time period. So if this is executing every 15 minutes, it'll enable 10 unique customers to come through and go through this automation every 15 minutes. We can do from now on, and then we rename this to watch for new customers. And we can also do this maybe if we want to reiterate a phone call. So again, we've got the button here that we can trigger it, or we can use the last modified field. But today we're just going to be using the created field for all of the new customers coming through. So we'll jump straight back in here. The next one we're going to do is around adding and setting some variables. So we're going to need 3 in here. The first one is going to be method of call. And then we're going to put 2 options. We're going to do VAPI or HTTP. And we're going to put HTTP as first. The next one I'm going to put in here is maybe the company name. So you can update this to be AI call agents. And the last one in here, we're just going to put the forwarding number. And then we'll just put that hold in there for now. Because basically what we're going to say is it makes it nice and easy to update if we want to change the company name or the number that we're going to forward and need the phone calls onto if they want to speak to a real human. So we're going to do set variables as the name for this. We'll do save. We'll just also align that to bring it into the center a bit more. Brilliant. So now what we've got are 2 options. So we're going to use a router module, and then we're going to come down to HTTP, and we're going to do router, and then we've got the 2 options here. Up here we're going to do VAPI, so I'll just put a placeholder in there for now. So we'll do create an outbound phone call. So we'll just have that in there for now. And now we're going to go through and do the HTTP request, which is great because it enables us to be a lot more personalized than just going through and use the VAPI trigger, which doesn't give as good of an experience for that person on the other side. So you want to come through and you want to do HTTP. You want to show more. We want to come down to the bottom and we want to do make a request. Now we've got a few different URLs here. So what we need to do is come into VAPI. So VAPI is great. It's really tailored for your developers, able to create lots of custom voice AI agents, as you can see here, barbershop, dentist. We've got insurance companies, lots of big markets coming through for this. We've got incredibly fast response time. So again, remembering between a second and 600 milliseconds is what a human normally takes to understand and then provide a response. So we're getting very close to that with a lot of the AI systems coming through. And if we come a bit further down as well, we can see that we can interrupt it. Lots of different unique features there, lots of different integrations for the voice, whether it's 11 Labs, Cartesia, some of the other ones that we've got in here, the backend that sits behind it if you want OpenAI, your own one. So that's a quick overview. If we come into the pricing side as well, you can see how it's broken down. We're looking at around 10 to 15 cents for a lot of the use cases. We've got a fixed fee of 5 cents a minute from VAPI, but the rest is fully customizable depending on what you need. Now, because we're using HTTP, we're not going to create an agent at this stage. What we're going to do is come into this API reference. Again, I'll include the link below. We're going to come across create a call, and then you can see here HTTP api.vapi.ai/call. Now, if you want to build this out manually when we go through the JSON in a minute, I recommend you come along, you do play. So to authenticate yourself, all you need to do is add your bearer token in there. Again, we're going to go through and do that in a second. But this enables you to build out all of this JSON on the right here, exactly what you want, and all of the different features involved in it. It'll make it much more dynamic in here, and you can test it and you can put it across. For now, we're going to get this HTTP link. We're going to come back into here and do URL. We then need 2 headers. So the first one's going to be organization, and then we're going to have bearer, and then you want to put your key in after it. So it'll look something like that. The next one, we're looking for content type. Then we're looking for application/JSON. Brilliant. So that's all good to go. We'll come down to the bottom here. We'll do raw, and then we're looking for the content type to be JSON. And then this request content is where we're going to go and build all the information in. So if we come down here, we can copy this example that I've already produced. We'll paste it in here, and then we'll just have a quick look through how it all works. So again, we've got the AI sales agent. We've got the assistant ID, which we're going to go and generate in VAPI in a minute. But this is basically all of the key information about how we wanted to go through and execute that phone call. This content section here is basically the prompt, what we're getting it to do. So again, making it dynamic. For example, here we'll update that to be the first name. We'll come a bit further down. We've got maybe the company they're with. We can have the first name of the customer. We can have the title, so maybe what their role is within an organization, what department they're a part of as well. We can have any existing opportunities maybe they've expressed interest in. We can say when we last interacted with them, so we can do interactions. We can say the interaction type as well, so was it a demo, a phone call? We can add that in there. We can add the examples in here as well, so first name. We can do the last interaction date. We can come a bit further down. Again, these are just a few examples, and then we can replace that with first name as well. Brilliant. So that's the first part. That's the content. That's what it's going to go through and do. It understands how to execute that conversation. If we come a bit further down, we can see we're using 11 Labs. We're using Sarah. We're using Turbo version 2 for how we're doing that voice conversation, so how well it's doing. This first message here is the first thing that's going to be spoken to a customer. So again, we've got the first name in there. If we come down here to where we've got the black company name, we're going to change that out for the purple. So as you can see on the left-hand side, starting to pulse away. That's so we can make it nice and dynamic. We're going to replace this with opportunities. So again, if they've expressed interest in anything, we're going to be able to capture that and really ask them in that first message. We'll come a bit further down. Again, you can turn on some background noise. So maybe you want it to sound like an office. You can do that. We're doing a phone call, so that's going to be coming through Twilio. This is key as well. We're going to be doing an end of call report so we can get the information. If we come a bit further down, we're going to do the voicemail message. So again, first name, we're then doing the company, and then we're doing the opportunities. If we come a bit further down, again, the forwarding number. So maybe if you want them to reach back out to you directly, that way the AI can focus on all of the maybe live opportunities, the new opportunities. If we come a bit further down, we're going to be replacing this URL in a bit to actually get that end of call report. We come a bit further down. The key part for you to update is down here. So this is going to be the phone number ID as well. You need to make sure that it's your specific one from VAPI from Twilio. So we can change the customer name. So do first name. We'll change that to be last name. And then you need to make sure that you add the phone number at the bottom here. And again, you need to make sure that that's got your specific company code that you're authorized to call in. So for example, in the UK, you need +44, then the phone number. You need to make sure that you've got that in the data where you're storing the information to be able to make those phone calls. We can do save, and we'll rename this to make call to customer. Brilliant. So now we can go through and do it for the other side. So what I'm going to do is just clone this across. We'll delete that module. Now the prompt that I've got for the other one is exactly the same, but what we've said is this is maybe if they've had a previous conversation, and this is maybe if they're having a first conversation. So the reason that this is different is just the prompt that we've given it. We've not said around any previous interactions, any previous areas of interest that they've got, all we've said is, imagine they're a brand new, fresh customer. Please can we show them what we offer, but also make sure that they understand how they can engage with us, what they can get from us, and almost be like more of a sales conversation. So we'll get rid of all of that. We can change the first name as well. We can change the company again. We'll change the first name and the company in the voicemail message as well. So we've got that to be dynamic. Again, the forwarding number, we'll just get rid of that and put it as purple. Purple is just showing it's one of the variables. Again, the rest is going to look exactly the same. The only part we need to change is the first name and the phone number. There we go. So that's all good to go now. So we can rename this bottom one to new customer. Cool. Brilliant. So the next part of this is we're going to do Airtable. We're going to do update a record. We're going to make sure that we're all tied into this first module that we had at the start here. We're going to use the exact same base. We're then going to go through and do our contacts as well. So that's our specific table that has all of the individuals' information. We'll come back in here, the record ID. We're going to come through and use that first one. Again, you can see it pulsing in the background. That's great. That means it's using that first one. We'll come a bit further down. And what we're going to be looking to do is update this phone record ID with the phone ID that we're going to get from this HTTP module. So we just rename this to store phone ID. We'll just clone this and we'll do exactly the same for the bottom one down here. So that's great. So let's give it a quick test. So we'll come back into our scenario. We'll just duplicate the contact. So it's brand new. So we can give this a test. It should come through. There we go. It's gone green. So we're getting a phone call come through. And as you can see on the phone, it's all come through to us nice and easily. So we'll just hang up on that so it doesn't come through for now. What we're going to do is come into our Airtable. We've now got a load of data from this phone call that's come through. We're going to come in here and we're going to come down here and we can update this phone ID. And we're looking for this ID at the top here and we just need to add that in. Now you can do a variation of this is if the customer's ended the call, we know they've picked up and they've had a conversation, but we're not going to go through and do that today. That's just a slight variation to tell if it's gone to voicemail or not, and some of the data you can update as well. So we'll save that. And that'll be exactly the same for this bottom one here. We can make sure that we go through and add that in. So in here, to know if it's a new customer, what we're going to say is the opportunities exist. And we're going to say if it's a new customer, we're going to say that the opportunities do not exist. So we can now go through and give that a quick test. We've also specified the variables up here. So again, coming from the purple side, if it's VAPI, it's going to go up and execute through VAPI. If it's HTTP, we're going to come through this bottom one here and give that a test. So let's give this a quick test. We'll do run once, make sure this is all working. We should get a phone call that comes through any second. So there we go, all come through. We can send that to voicemail. We should have ID. There we go, dataset ID. So we're all good to go as well. So we can do save and we're all good to go. Brilliant. So that's how you trigger the phone call. But for it to know what the agent is, how it's executing, that's where we need to come into VAPI. We want to do create an assistant. We want to do AI phone sales agent, or we can do a cold calling agent. We can do create assistant. So what this has done now is it's generated our own agent. So what we've got up the top here is the ID. So again, this is where we need to copy this, come back into our scenario, come into the HTTP module. We want to paste it in the assistant ID. We want to change this to the same name that we've got in here. So we called it AI cold calling agent, AI cold calling agent. So that's all saved. We can do save, just update it for the second one as well. There we go. So now if you trigger it, it should go through to that specific agent. So let's go out and build the information for that agent. I've got another example here, which we're just going to copy across, which has got all the information. Again, you can fully customize this to what you want, and you can get access to the prompt below as well, so that you'll be able to use yourself in your own conversations, your own agents you're going to be generating as well. There's a few best practices, so let's run through and make sure how we get access to it. So as mentioned, this is VAPI. It's going to be a more developer-focused lens, so you're able to customize a lot. We're currently at 8 cents a minute, so incredibly cheap to run. This is going to increase though. So as we can see, when we click on transcriber, this is going to jump up to now 9 cents a minute. We've now got Cartesia, or we can use something like 11 Labs. We'll go to Sarah. Again, that's going to bring the cost up. You can change it to the turbo. We've also got the flash engines. This is the super fast one. This is one that's really great. It's a little bit lower quality, but it's incredibly fast to respond, so we can use that. We've got some functions. This is key. We're going to touch on that a bit later. You've got some advanced features in here around compliance. So maybe you don't want any of it to be recorded because it's quite sensitive information. This is really great for healthcare or HR, some use cases like that. You can toggle if you want recordings. All of this information isn't as necessary because we've already generated it through our JSON request that we're sending through, but it's great to understand how it works so that if you want to go through and build it out yourself or use the other version that we're going to run through and directly connect into VAPI, you can do that as well. So we'll come back up to the top. We'll come across to model. We're going to change this to GPT-4o because it's a bit faster. Again, we're going to jump up in price, but I think it's worth it because it improves the quality that we're going to get. We've given it example first sentence to say, so it's basically, hey, how are you? Not got any information on that customer, so they're going to go through and do it. We've got a goal, so again, what's it trying to do? We've then got a role, so who is it? We've got a tone, so how's it going to go and complete it? How's it going to sound? What does it need to do? And that's where our instructions come in as well, so step by step. What's it looking for? What does it need to get out of the call? What are we trying to capture? Where do we want to direct the call? And so much more. We've got the offers in here as well. So maybe you want to add some pricing in there. Maybe you're tailoring that to your specific company. Maybe you've got a restaurant, you can add some pricing in there. If you're consultants, you could add some rates in there. Lots of different areas that you could add. And we've got some examples in here as well. And then at the end, we've just reiterated some of the critical information because what we find is the AI is really good at the start, really good at the end, gets a little bit muddled in the middle. But what we're starting to see is that's starting to get mitigated by tools like DeepSeek R1 or AI brains like DeepSeek R1, because what they're able to do is allegedly be a lot better all the way through for finding the needle in the haystack, as they call it, being able to really understand the context the whole way through and be able to use it. So that's all good to go. We've updated the agent ID at the top here for us being able to contact that agent. So now if you trigger this, it should go through to that specific agent, which is great. That's exactly what we want. Now, the other part that we talked about was the phone numbers. Now, if we come across to phone numbers, what you'll be able to see is if you connect your account, you can either import it from Twilio, we've got another option, or you can actually get it from VAPI as well. What we can also see is that we've got a demo number. You want to copy that, and where we mentioned right at the bottom of our JSON, at the JSON here, you'll be able to update that to be your specific phone call ID or phone call key. We also need to make sure you do is you change the inbound settings to be sort of the AI agent, so the one that you're working with, and also the outbound as well. If you're going to be using some of that, you can add a default or the fallback destination in there as well. So if they want to reach out to you or they can't get hold of you, that's where it's going to go. There's so many different ways you can customize this, but we're going to go back into assistance. We're going to come back down to our cold calling agent. This is all set up. What we're now going to do is copy this, come back into our scenario. We're now going to be using the VAPI specific module. We want to add the assistant ID at the top here. We also want to add in our phone number ID in here as well. So we're going to add that at the bottom, the customer phone number. You want to add the phone number from our Airtable module. But again, if you're using Google Sheets, Apollo, anything like that, you'd be able to do that as well. And then the name, we're going to do first name and then space last name. We can do save. And now that's all good to go. So this is going to be VAPI direct call. And then what we want to do is clone this Airtable again. And then what we're going to be doing is storing the call ID that we generate from VAPI. So phone ID, we could do call ID and then save. One thing I forgot to say is we're going to be passing the response at the bottom here, just so that we get it in a much better, more usable format. So as we can see here, the data, all of this is a bit jumbled up at the bottom. Now that we've turned pass on, we're much better. We'll be able to add the phone ID in there much easier. Brilliant. So this is the first part. Let's give the VAPI side a quick test. So we can come down here. We can change the variable to VAPI. So now it's going to use the VAPI module. We'll do save. We'll do run once, and we should come through and should get a phone call coming through automatically. So there we go. Able to directly doing it from there. So there you go. There's the two different ways of executing the phone call. The second part we're going to go through now is actually capturing that information and being able to use it for maybe a bit more analysis. And we've got two ways of doing this. We're going to be either using the webhooks or we're going to be using VAPI directly to be able to extract that information. So if you're looking for the HTTP request version first, we're going to do custom webhook. So to generate one, you want to come across to add. We'll do AI cold calling agent. We'll do save. What you need to do is copy this address. We're going to come back into where we've got the HTTP modules. We're going to come right down to the bottom where we've got the URL. We just need to change that. We'll do save, come into here, again, come down the bottom, and we'll do URL. We'll just update that for the new one that we've got, and we'll do save. What this basically means is at the end, because we've specified that it's going to send an end of call report, as you can see here, it's going to send it to this specific webhook. So that's why we needed to make sure that it's all tied up with this one in here. So We're now going to go through and search for that specific customer. So to do that, we're going to come across to base. We're going to do the table, which is going to be contact. The formula, we're going to do phone in brackets, and then we're going to do equals, and then 2 quotation marks. And we're going to put across the phone number. So we're going to execute this in a minute. We want to output all of the fields. So, and we want to do the limit as 1 because we only want 1 customer to come back. And we'll do search for customer. So now if we give this a quick test, what we'll be able to do is trigger the phone call. So we'll save, we'll come across and change this back to HTTP. So we can give this a quick test. We'll send that off. We should get a phone call coming through. Yeah, there we go. So we can...
Michael, this is Ava calling from BrightPath Solutions. I'm following up regarding your interest in cybersecurity solutions. Would now be a good time to quickly discuss and answer any questions you might have.
Yeah, just want to learn a bit more about your cybersecurity offering, please.
Of course, Michael. Our cybersecurity solutions are designed to protect your business from potential threats by providing advanced, multi-layered protection, real-time monitoring, and 24/7 support. Based on your previous discussion, it seems like your department was exploring solutions to enhance your data security and compliance. Am I correct? I'd love to hear more about what specific aspects you're most interested in. Are you looking for endpoint protection, network monitoring, or perhaps...
So it looks like it's come through to the other one, not to our new one. So we'll just give this a quick test just so you can see how it works. So as we can see in here, we should have the full conversation. So yep, there we go. So hi, Michael, this is from the AI. So we got the full transcript, lots of information in here. So let's go through and just show you how you'd work with that. So as you can see here, basically what we're going to be using is our module with the output of all of the information in our table to really analyze and find that specific individual. So as you can see here, we've got phone number. So to use that, you'd delete, you'd come to the output of the webhook, you then look for customer, and then you would come into number and you would do save. So that's how we're going to analyze and find that customer specifically. Now, the next couple that we've got here are OpenRouter as well as some other modules. So basically what we're using here is OpenRouter because it's great. It enables us to use so many different LLMs in one place, but you could switch that out for Claude, or you've got GPT from OpenAI in there. Let's go through and just see how this OpenRouter is working. So if we want to do, so we've got a goal, what we're asking it to do, the instructions, so going through and analyzing, trying to identify if they're interested, not interested, any follow-up next steps or actions. We're going to output it as a JSON format, so as you can see here, so we're able to incorporate that data back into our database. And then what we've got is after the priming prompt, we're giving it all of the information. So as you can see here, we've given it the full transcript. So if I delete this, you want to come to the left-hand side, scroll down, and you'll see transcript. You can use that one, or the other side, you can come into artifacts, and then you've got OpenAI formatted if you wanted to use that one instead. Again, it's up to you. What you can see at the bottom here as well is we're able to choose the model we're using. So for example, DeepSeek V3 here, again, very cost effective against using something like ChatGPT or Claude. What we can also do is enable JSON mode, but because we're using this, again, if you wanted to use OpenAI one week, you could do that. If you wanted Claude, you could use that in the next. Again, lots of ways that you can dynamically engage with that. One thing to note, it is a bit slower than using it directly with OpenAI. Again, to connect, all you need to do is make sure you've got API key from OpenRouter, put it in here, and you'll be all good to go. Now, what we're then doing after this is we're going to take the output. So as we can see here, the message, context, and then we've got this as an example output. We'll copy this. We're then using a parse module. So to find out, you want to do JSON, and then we're using parse. And what this is basically doing is analyzing the output from our AI brain to really break it into a usable format. So as we can see here, we've got the JSON, but then at the bottom here is how we're going to be able to use it. So as you can see here, the interest level is moderate. We've then got some of the key notes. We've then got some of the recommended next steps. Again, what we're then doing is uploading this into our CRM so that we've got this to go and use in the future. So as you can see here, we've got the ID. Again, we're capturing that at the start with our search module where we're looking for the phone call. Then we're going through and actually using it. The next part, if we come down to the bottom, is the interest level. And that's all we want to update for now. What we're then going to do afterwards is use this text aggregator. So we want to come through and we can do text aggregator, so tools, and then we've got text aggregator in here. And basically what we're going to be doing is feeding in the keynotes and the next steps as an array, and that's why they've got their little brackets there. So that means there's lots of data tied within them, because what we want to do is tie this all up into a nice bundle. So when we go and update our record again, as we can see at the bottom here, We've then got the interest level captured as a text. So that's going to have everything. You'll see it start pulsing on the left. It's capturing everything from there in a really good format versus being able to upload all of the notes. So that's how we're going to capture all of the data using the HTTP module. So again, as you saw at the start, we were able to go through and generate a webhook. You just need to make sure that you have this URL, copy it across, come into your HTTP module. And then when we've got this area at the bottom here, you'll be able to add it in there and it'll be all good to go to pass that information across. Now, the other way of doing it is actually using VAPI itself to extract this information and then pass it across. So as you can see here, we're looking for the end of call report. So as you can see, we've also got some tool calls. We're going to go through and generate them in a minute. But to do this, all you need to do is search for VAPI. And then what we're looking for is end of call report. And then that's going to pull everything through, and that's what we want. What we're then going to do is make sure that we copy this webhook, and we're going to go and add it into our agent in a second. What we're doing, again, exactly the same as we did with the HTTP modules, is we're looking for that customer phone number, and then we're uploading, and then we're extracting their information based off that. We'll do save because we're looking for one record to come through. And then exactly as we've got here, we've got the ID that we're going to identify. Then we can come down and we're going to extract the interest level using VAPI versus using DeepSeek or some of the AI brains instead. We've then got the next steps, which again is another function call that we're going to be using. And we've got additional info, which as we can see a bit further down here, if we come into tool calls, we've got function, arguments, and these are just next steps, interest level, and product. So again, maybe we wanted more as a binary, yes or no, if they're interested. Again, lots of different ways that you can use this. I'm just trying to provide a demo on just some art of the possible of what you can do. We'll do save. Now, how do we get those functions to work? Well, first of all, let's copy this URL from the agent. We want to come back into VAPI. We'll come back into our agent here. And then what we've got are these functions, tools, and then you'll be able to do extract sales key info. So to generate this, you want to come back across to tools. You want to do new tool. You want to do custom tool or make.com. We want to use make.com. We want to input the webhook that we just used. So we can do next. We're going to do the property name. So we can do interest level. Needs to be all one word. The level of interest of from a customer about our solutions. Again, you can do string, Boolean, object, and array. Boolean is basically true or false. Number could be maybe on a scale of 1 to 10. String can be yes, no, have lots of information. Let's do Boolean for that one. We'll add another field in here just around next steps. We can say the suggested next steps on the call. So again, that's how you'll be able to do it. You can do string maybe for that one. We'll do save. And then next we can add in here just around interest. We can do additional notes. We can say any other key pieces of information mentioned during the call. And we can do save. We'll do next. We can give it a tool. So we can do cold call agent extractor. Again, needs to be all words. We'll just add that in there. This tool will extract some key information for the sales team. We can do next. Again, you can do different messages if you want to. We're going to do create. And then what we should have up here is the integration. So that's all ready to go. And then you have the details. So we've got the tool name, the tool description, and then the different properties in here. Again, you can go and change this as much or as little as you want. You can always update it. All you need to do to bring this through into the agent is come back into your assistant, come back across to functions, and then click on where we've got cold call agent extractor, do publish, and now it's all ready to go directly through VAPI. So if we give this one more test, we can do save, run once. And what this is basically we're going to be using is AI within VAPI to extract this key information and then be able to pass that across, as we saw in here from the tool calls. And then we've got the argument. It's going to show the actual interest in that product. It's going to do that versus us having to use OpenAI, ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Claude, whatever it may be. So think about how you want to use it. And if you want to analyze the transcript anyway, that's where your HTTP example is really good. Enables you to get lots of information out of it. Even if you wanted to do the exact same analysis on the full transcript in VAPI, you're able to do that. All you need to do is come into here, formatted, we've got the messages. So again, this is going to be all of the messages that come through and they'll be able to upload it. So if we do waiting for new data, we'll just come back across, we'll change this to direct, and then we'll do save, and we'll just ring the phone number again, and now it should come through into this VAPI one instead. So there we go, it should be executing through VAPI. Again, we've got the agent that's coming through.
This is Eva from Bright Path Solutions. I'm reaching out to introduce you to some of our services designed to help businesses streamline operations and improve performance.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Please can you tell me what you offer?
And hear about your goals. Would now be a good time to talk?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Please can you tell me what you offer?
Of course, we offer a range of services tailored to meet different business needs. One,
We're just going to hang up there because we've already done that demo a few times. So as you can see here, we've now got a transcript straight away. So we've got all of the information coming through and we're able to use that dynamically. So there you go. There's two different ways of being able to trigger a phone call for any of the new customers. Or if you want to do it manually, you can come through and trigger it through here. All you need to do is add a webhook at the start here. So if we do webhook, what you can do is do trigger a call. We can do save. All you need to do is copy this URL, come into your sales CRM, find a way of doing it. You then add a point in there. You want to do question mark ID equals, and then you want to do save. And what this will basically do is pass the ID of that specific one across. And then all you would need to do is make sure they're using a search module after this. So again, Airtable and then search for records. And then all you want to do is come down here, output all of the fields. And then we want to do limit of 1, we'll do save. We'll add in here, sorry, we need to do the webhooks. We'll just give this a run so you can see how it works. Determine data structure. We'll come across to our Airtable. We'll do run once. We'll click on this one. Again, you should see accepted. If we come back across here, successfully determined. We'll just run this again. So we'll just connect this up so you can see how it would work. All you need to do is make an API call. As you can see here, we've now got the record ID passed across. And instead, we want to do a get module. So we want to get a record. So we go, we're using a get record instead. The ID, which are going to paste in the ID there. If we do run once, what we should be able to do is see that it's able to retrieve that information. So again, we can come into here. We'll come back into our start. And as you can see, it's extracted all of that information. So if you wanted to go through and trigger it yourself manually, you'd be able to do that as well through a webhook request. Again, that's a really quick way that shows that you can use these AI agents 24/7, whether you're triggering them to automatically phone a customer, cold call them through all of your leads that you've got, or you're triggering it manually, you're able to do that as well. Remember, different jurisdictions such as the UK, EU are a bit stricter around cold call agents. You've got to have permission. You've got to say that it's a cold call agent. Again, just be careful with that. I hope this video was useful. All of the resources in the link below, and have a great day.